Okay, so in this video I want to talk about is tattoos, and especially about when the tattoo is new and when the tattoo is healed, and in the comparison, this kind of thing. So okay, let's begin. The thing here is that it's super important is, for example, when we see a tattoo, for example, in a picture in the studio, that means the tattoo is new. They have not yet healed. Gonna take 3 or 4 weeks before that everything is healed. Um, so especially when we talk about people with darker or brown skin tone, we have to understand that obviously some color will work amazingly, and some color do not work. But the problem that can be bit misleading in some point is when you just see the picture for the first time. And the reason why I want to talk about these kind of things is because for me personally, I think that is very important. For example, if you're a customer like me, if I go to a tattoo artist, if I see a picture, for example, on a portfolio, and I see, we say example, just for example now, let's say we take purple, and you see it on a person with dark skin, and you say, oh, nice, purple looks amazing on that person. But then yourself have exactly that purple, and then some weeks later that purple is gone on your skin. That is a bit misleading, because you in the picture you tell the customer purple works on your skin. If so, that is, I think it's important to show when the tattoo is new and when the tattoo is 4 weeks later have healed on the skin. So everything is healed, and see the comparison. For that will help other people to see in some ways what colors should I stay away from, what color should I focusing on, because if you just show that, and that's the other thing also very wrong to say that colors do not work on people with darker skin tone. That is false, blanked false. That is not true at all, because absolutely color tattoos work on darker skin tone. Green, red, orange, different version of magenta, red, violet, turquoise blue, and so on. This color works absolutely on darker skin tone. Obviously, you have to use different version of this kind of colors I have said in this video to make them work on different level of different people with darker skin tones. Obviously, this kind of thing. And so on. But the only color I can say personally, I do not know. I do know that do not work on my skin tone is purple and yellow, obviously, because yellow will be misshape coloring, because yellow is too similar in some sense to brown. And the same purple, I do not. Purple is harder to explain why. Purple really vanished because maybe it was too light purple, and so on. That it was really not very not strong enough to stay longer on the skin, and this kind of thing. Obviously, you can obviously have purple, but you maybe have to have some kind of background before it's around the purple to make the purple more stand out. For example, black or other kind of contrast to make it work better. The problem here is purple and yellow is complementary color, and these two colors do not work on darker skin tones, especially yellow, especially purple. And so this is the thing here that is the problem here, is that so you have to. I think that is super important if you're a tattoo artist, and especially if you do tattoos on darker skin tone and put the picture up in the portfolio. It's super important to show the different result of when the tattoo is new and when the tattoo have healed on the skin, to really show the next customers that look at your portfolio to see the different contrast of that color, what happened to it, because I think that will really help people so much if they really know what they should suspect of this kind of version of that color, if and with in the future of this kind of thing with that color. And yeah, I think so. So there is a reason because of all of this kind of thing. Because I think it is misleading. It's misleading from the both side. It's misleading from the side that say people with darker skin tone cannot have color tattoos or even have tattoos. That is extremely misleading from this side. But it also some point misleading from the other side to show many different versions of colors on darker skin tone, and we just see the one picture. We just see one picture. We don't see the picture later on, and maybe and so on. So that this kind of thing it will be very misleading, because you have to obviously different skin tone, different version of dark skin tone, different is obviously have different will have different result. Obviously for different color, obviously some it's much easier to do color on than on other version of this darker skin tone, and this kind of thing. Obviously this is obviously a thing too, but even my skin that is not the darkest, not the lightest, even this, and I have to remember, and that is also a reason, like it's not just that your skin tone is the thing that makes some color do not work, but it's something else to like the undertone. Because for example you can have the same but same thing that is exactly as light as the other color, for example tropical teal as light purple, and tropical teal still stand on my skin, but purple do not stand on the skin. Yeah, and so on. So the whole thing is here, what I really want to put out as my big message is to really say, like, please, if you have different skin tone customers, please ask them to put up different version of their how the tattoo looks, new and old, to see in comparison, to really show. Because I think the more diversity you have, and you really have a very upgraded catalog, that really will give you much more understanding. Because it's important, it's super important with this kind of thing. So why is it so important? Because tattoos is for life. Stay on your skin so long you don't take it away with laser, but it's a permanent thing, and it costs lots of money. And I don't blame any tattoo artist. I just think that it's important that we are much more, because the tattoo artists are much more explanatory to their customers with these kind of things, much more. And just when I say what I mean with this is I mean that they really explain the different what different result of that color. If the example the customer say example I want blue, for example, and then the tattoo artist can tell them what show a different picture on darker skin tone, and different versions, and show that purple maybe blue and purple do not work maybe, and really show to explain this kind of thing. To just say that will work and just put it on the skin and you wow, it looks amazing, and then 4 weeks later when the tattoo start to heal, it's going to be a total different story, and you see, oh shit, that do not work. I think so. I think that is the biggest problem, because we have not so much tattoo artists that put up some people with darker skin tone on the tattoo portfolio. We have some, for example, dark body art and some other that do amazing work, really amazing work with amazing color, that really know what kind of color is they should recommend, what color should not recommend, and they some of them are professionals, extremely good artists, and absolutely amazing, do amazing work. But here is the problem. Here is that if you have if you know, for example, what color will work, uh, for example, we say at the turquoise blue, magenta, red, orange, and green is the safe box. Is the box that is most common used on darker skin tone, these kind of colors. So what about the other color? For example, the unsafe zone color, for example, yellow, uh, light purple, blue, these three colors. So that was interesting. Where is the reason why, for example, the other color will work most of the time, not all of the time, most of the time, but the other three colors is the color that much more, very much unless will work on darker skin tones, different versions of darker skin tones, and this kind of thing. So when I say dark, I mean everything from very light brown to dark. And that is also interesting thing. Is it is this the skin, or is it the undertone, or is something else that makes it so that do not work on darker skin tone, for example, purple? So that is an extremely interesting factor, how the example ink is made. But it also, I think, it's also a thing that we obviously different or different purple will have, I think, will have different result. So I cannot say that every light purple will have the same result. Absolutely not. I cannot say that. I just can say from my experience that when I try purple from Ink Eternal, that was one result. So, and that is the interesting thing. For example, if you take tropical teal, that is not much darker or much lighter than light purple, but that is still working. So I'm wondering if that is the lightness of the color, or if there's something how you made the color. For example, how the color was created in the machine that makes the ink. And obviously there's so many different factors that will contribute to the end result of this kind of thing. And obviously I think nowadays they have made obviously upgrade, they have made kind of fake skin in like a machine, so they can train on. So obviously they have like almost a plat they make in machines that you can try, and obviously they have much more upgraded. So nowadays, obviously, the tattoo artists nowadays are much more upgraded. So they have much more experience how to deal with this kind of thing. But it's not many tattoo artists that have come at that height yet with that experience. Because you have to sometimes go to a specialist tattoo artist to really be sure that the color you get is gonna be will stay long on the skin. Sometimes you have to use extremely everything has to be very exactly. What combination of color, what part of the body can you use that color, what is more lighter on that part, how can we, and this kind of thing. So but we're still gonna come back to the most simple thing, is that how will this tattoo look when the tattoo have permanently healed on the skin? This is the biggest question still here, because you can do amazing work and it looks amazing when you take the picture, when the tattoo is in the studio and so on, and tattoo is new and this kind of thing. But we still do not know how this tattoo will look when it's healed on the skin. And that is the biggest question of the whole thing. Is the biggest question is because it's one thing if you buy food and then food is gone, because food should not be permanent. Food should be, you should eat up food. Also, that is extremely bad comparison, I know, but tattoo is permanent. So when the thing you see in the studio on your arm when it's fresh, before you put up around the plastic or other thing to protect it, this is the same color you want to see rest of your life. You don't want to see a totally different. You don't want to see the color vanish from your skin because you pay a lot of money for it. So I'm wondering, how can tattoo artists explain that to different kind of customers, to make them know if they choose that color, there can be a big risk that that color will be gone on the skin, will not stay there, and so on. And I know, I really know I'm repeating myself lots of time in the video, I know, but it's a very complicated thing to really, really explain, to really try to see how to find a solution to this kind of problem, because some tattoo artists do not want to put up people with dark skin on the portfolio, some of them, and this is also a big problem. Sorry, it's also a big problem, because you don't help the problem if you don't put up the picture, because I think they should show first one and the other one side by side, obviously the same thing as I said before, with all this kind of thing, to explain the result of the, obviously, how the tattoo looks when it was new, and how it has, for some color, for example, some color can look really, for example, if when I have, for example, I already have done a video about it. For example, my latest tattoo was green mixed with turquoise blue, and with electric raspberry, one version of magenta, and to always to have them side by side when the tattoo was new and when the tattoo was healed. And also when it was new, the color was much darker, and when this was healed, the color get much lighter on the skin. And that is also a big important factor with all this kind of thing, is that if that is so, that every color that is dark will get a bit lighter on the darker skin tone, or is only some of the dark color will get lighter and some of the dark color will get darker, because that is also a big problem. Is every color gonna go to left of the dark colors, for example, lime green, turquoise blue, red, and so on, and orange. It is the color will always go on the darker side, when or from the darker side go to the lighter side when they heal on darker skin tone, or only some of the dark colors will some go to right and some go to left with coloring, and or some of the light color will go to the lighter color, with all of the lighter color get much lighter on darker skin tone, only some of them will get lighter on darker skin tone, and this kind of thing. And I think this is super important, because if you, that for example, that will obviously help much more people to choose what kind of color they're gonna have for their tattoos, because if you see, okay, this color tropical teal was amazing, okay, I know I can use light colors, but then you take a light color, for example light pink, and do not work, but then you take light magenta, then will work. So how can we see what version of the light is gonna work, what kind of light of the other, for example magenta and pink, what is the biggest differences here with pink and magenta of when they heal on darker skin tone? What is the differences beside with for example turquoise blue and blue. Obviously, turquoise blue is green, blue, and white, and some yellow to make turquoise blue. Obviously, you have different colors and so on. Blue is just one color. So is it more common that color that is mixed with many colors works better on darker skin tone than just standalone color? For example, blue, red, and yellow. For example, every color I have said so that I know work on me is color that is mixed with other colors. For example, magenta, turquoise blue, orange. Is called that orange is yellow and red. It's orange, green, yellow, and blue. So that I'm wondering here if that is the case here, is that if the color is a standalone color, is much less chance to work on darker skin tone if the color is mixed with two colors or three colors, and this kind of thing. Obviously, I do not know, but I think is you can find. I think the best. Obviously one of the best videos about this kind of thing is from Fireside Tattoos on their YouTube channel. They do one interview with one tattoo artist that do tattoos on darker skin tone. That is was a very interesting video. And the other one that I can strongly recommend is wait, I just have to think a second if I can find the name. The only thing you do, just write color tattoos on darker skin tone on YouTube, and you will find some very good videos from professional artists that also do to really show. One of them is almost like a scimitar, almostly as very like a professional school video that they show a picture on the arm of a person with dark skin with tattoo, and they explain that person really explain part by part what kind of color he used, exactly how much with the contrast and complementation and all this kind of thing. Really explain this kind of thing to really. That is probably this Fireside, and the other one is probably the most much more. And there's one more is a tattoo artist, two girls that one is a model and the other one is a tattoo artist, and they also have a very interesting Instagram portfolio. That they are probably the only one. I have to probably. I'm sorry. I have to say probably they are the first ever tattoo artists that really go a step further with this kind of thing. They probably are the person that really. I try to remember their names. They are really. They are in. They live in United States of America, but I don't know what kind of state in America they are, but one of them was with I think one was in Ink Master, and they made they are really try to show. They have some picture when they show tattoos by side in comparison, how when the tattoo looks when it was new, and how the tattoo looks when it, for example, was 5 years later, to show in comparison with this kind of color. They have some of them, and they try to forget their name, but probably you're gonna find them if you go into Instagram and you write down tattoo color tattoos and darker skin tone. I think they will pop up as alternative on the Instagram. They have so probably they are probably one of the best in that field. Obviously, Dark Body Art is a very good Instagram post to really he show different tattoo artists that do tattoos on darker skin tones on his professional show. But the best one is with the two girls is the best one. For they really they show tattoos on darker skin tone, but at the same time show how tattoos looks when they're healed. For that is the most important thing, because that simple way to say it, that it means nothing to just show a tattoo and 3 weeks or 5 weeks later that color is gone, because that means nothing. So if you can show tattoo when you the first time and 5 weeks later, because that what I mean also tattoo will that is the most important thing, is it's almost like this. It's like this. For when you do a tattoo on your skin, your arm, your leg, your back, wherever you want to put your tattoo, you have to then you see the tattoo, but it's important here that because when the tattoo healed and the scabs fall off, everything is healed, and you can go out and swim, you can go to the sauna, you can go to the gym, everything is healed. You don't have to have plastic around it. You don't have to have you don't have to take care of it as much as you have to do in the beginning of the tattoo healing process. This is what I mean when the tattoo is 100% healed. Everything is, this is the color you will see for the rest of your life. Obviously you have to use sun cream when it's summer outside and so on, but you can go out and swim. This is what I mean when the tattoo is 100% healed. And I think so that maybe take 5 or 3 weeks in this between, or maybe shorter, tattoo totally be healed. And I think then you can show the comparison, because then you see from when the tattoo is fresh and newly done, and when the tattoo is 100% healed, because then that is the most important thing, because that will show in some ways will really show what some other customer can suspect with this kind of thing. I think so, but I say it again, color tattoos will work if you go to the right tattoo artist and you shoot the tattoo artist and you choose the right colors, will work amazingly on darker skin tone. But if you choose the wrong colors, the color will not work. So that is wrong to say that color tattoos do not work on darker skin tone. That is totally false and wrong to say. But it's also extremely wrong to say that color tattoos work on darker skin tone, because and also here also is a problem, for we have to be more much more to explain it, be much more precise with this explanation. Because if you just say, for example, obviously that is a very dumb example, or yeah, for example, if you say oh no, turquoise blue will not work on darker skin tone, but the picture you show is tropical teal you have on the arm. It's not turquoise blue. It's not the dark turquoise blue. It's a light turquoise blue you have on your arm, and you can then. So there is also a bit. Also, that is a bit of a problem, because light purple will probably do not work, but dark purple maybe have a bigger chance to work on darker skin tone, and especially red violet, that is purple but with much warmer purple that have much more red in it. Especially when you mix purple you mix with red and blue, but it's like exactly the same amount of blue and red to make it purple. But with red violet you have much more red in the mixture to make it red violet, and you have little more blue when you make magenta, but you still have more red than you make purple. So purple is somewhere in the middle. You have purple, you have red violet, and you have magenta. All of these three colors can you make in the mixture with red and blue. So all of them is in the same mixture, but some of them magenta and red violet have much more red in them than purple. And that is the thing, because I think colors that, for example, turquoise blue is especially have more green in it. But that is also a very interesting thing here, is that I think you can. The cool thing you can do, for example, obviously, what I say right now, you have to always talk with your tattoo artist about this kind of thing. But when I get a tattoo, for example, I do I take from obviously from ink turn. I take turquoise blue and I mix it with graphic green, and it was very good. Turning was like a mixture of turquoise blue and green, but you get much more greener. So you can always have, or you can always have the green, and you can absolutely make it a bit different, and you can always, for example, make it more works better and this kind of thing. So you can always do experiment to have a different result, but obviously when you make the experiment, always you will never know 100% exactly how that end result will be with this kind of thing. So yeah, I think, yeah, so this is everything. It's just, I think it's important to really show the side by side with the tattoo process, and to really have much more. I think what example that this is to tattoo the model and the artist really much more have a better feel to the whole thing. But they do a very good work because they help lots of other tattoo artists with this kind of thing. Because when the other tattoo artists talk with them, for example, and they see this kind of picture, they see much more in some ways how the tattoo will look later on in the future. And this obviously this help a bunch for everybody. For example, me help very much for me. For example, when I go to my tattoo artist, then I can be much secured with what kind of color I choose on my skin. For example, right now I know that turquoise blue will work on my skin. I know, for example, that electric raspberry magenta will work on my skin, and this kind of things. I know orange also work. I know these kind of things because I have tried, and obviously I see different picture. I see this kind of thing. So, and I know that light purple will not work on my skin because I tried that too, and I see the result. But that should also be nice for people that will, so they can know before they try this kind of thing. To really show the obviously this kind of result of all this and so on. Yeah, so the message here in this video is to talk with your tattoo artist, talk with different tattoo artists about this kind of thing, and see if they say the same thing with that color you want to choose you have on your skin. How can we go around it? Can we and this kind of thing, because yeah, so the more information we have, obviously the customers and the tattoo artist, and really like to really explain this kind of thing in a very exact way. Do not explain it in a stupid way. Do not say anything like stupid comparison. For example, watercolor on a tree is a stupid comparison. Do not do simple way. If you are an artist and you do tattoos on darker skin tone, and do not do any stupid comparison, because we are customers. We pay lots of money for the art we get on our bodies, and so that is just important. Just explain it in a way that will really people will understand. Explain it and also have to show it. Explain it and show it. That is the most important thing. The one thing, if you only explain it but you don't show it, you have to show a comparison. You have to show a person with darker skin tone, and you have to show, obviously different skin tone will make different results, I say again, but you really have to explain it when you show it. And this is what I try to do in my videos, when I show my tattoos side by side, and this kind of thing when they heal and new. from the one is taken this picture in the studio, one picture is taken 3 weeks later, or some picture I have one video I maybe have a picture from 1 year ago to when I heal, like in line comparison healing process of the result. So for example, if you have seen my video when I show, for example, my tiger tattoo, and I show it how it looks when, obviously that is interesting thing here. When you see the picture right now and you see the picture when it was in the studio, they look exactly the same. That is the interesting thing. That is what I mean. This was lime green. I think lime green mixed with a bit of avocado green, but it's exactly the same green, exactly the same result of the process. That is very interesting. But if you look at that tattoo when it started, the healing process of it, like before it scabs, but in the middle, the tattoo was really light. Always looked like it was very light. I much prefer much darker green because this looks more vibrant. I don't mean vibrant in that sense it looks shiny, but it looks more vibrant because it looks much more stable on the skin. So that is lime green. So that is always an interesting thing here, is that if you that also thing when you sample lime green is it's darkest green. Sorry, it's the darkest green, but you still have these kind of it will get a bit lighter. And I think is so if you see this 3 step, you see when the studio, you see when the tattoo is healed, start to be healed, and then you see the tattoo when it's healed, and you see a totally different result, and this kind of thing. So I think this is just what I mean with the whole thing, is that we really need to see the comparison with these with these colors to really explain to us, because it's almost like you walking in the field of fog, and you just put up your hand and you don't know what you're gonna touch in the fog. And it's almost like this is what I mean with the color, some of the color tattoos, is that it's should be much more, feel much better if we just can know 100% what color we can choose, and we know that color will have a good end result when that color heals on the skin. Then just put up your hand and just you maybe will get a good color, you maybe get a bad color. And so obviously this is very complicated, because every person with darker skin tone gonna have a different result to that color that maybe works on you, maybe do not work on the other person, and so on. So how will they do in the future, for example, to really give us a much better much better think of this kind of thing, because you cannot show, that also is the problem here, because you cannot show just one person with darker skin tone, because maybe he have maybe under an different undertone and you have, and that is also a thing to the whole thing with this kind of thing. So really, yeah, I know this start to be very much more it's start to be much more complicated, because you have the skin tone, you have the undertone, you have the color, and you have different version of that color. Then you have different companies that make purple, and maybe if you take purple from that company, maybe that will have a total different result from the other version of that purple. So you can make colors in many different ways. You can make them in many different ways. Even if they are vegan based, you can make them in many different ways, and obviously probably they will have a different result. So here, what I say right now with purple, the only purple I have tried is from Ink Eternal, and one is two different purple. That is, I mean purple now is light purple and dark purple, and I know that dark purple works much better than light purple. That dark purple is not as absolutely not as good as green or turquoise blue or magenta or orange. Absolutely not. I don't recommend this color as a permanent color on your skin. For example, it's one thing because dark purple will look much darker, so in some ways they can work, can have a okay result anyways, even not gonna be that what you think from the start, because this look much more darker. So it's, for example, if you have it like it's straps to the tiger, it's hard to show, but then it looks more like a dark that tiger have the dark strips like around their body. Um, but you will have a probably much better result of the vibrancy and the clearness of the color is if you have a magenta or if you have red violet, or you have turquoise blue, or you have tan green orange, like red with orange with bit red in it to make it much warmer, much more heated orange on the skin. For example, the same with turquoise blue and tropical teal. Both of them is a version of turquoise blue, but you will have much more clearness and vibrantness with the with turquoise, that dark turquoise blue. But here is again is a bit of a problem with this kind of thing, is that because of I don't know that I also have to say that now. I do not know if purple is a color do not work permanently or not on darker skin tone, but if it's just one way how you make purple will have that result. Because I have not tried every different company that have made every different version of light purple, so I cannot say 100%, because you don't gonna try purple again. For example, if you make light purple one time and you take it on the skin and that purple do not work, you don't want to take the risk again. But so here is the thing here is that if the more experiments and the more thing that really have if people can see much more different comparisons with that version of some light purple from different company that make different tattoo inks, and see if that is the purple in general that does not work on darker skin tone, or if there's some way how you make purple in the machines that make the ink have a different why for example why is it so that blue that